Um, so yeah, thanks for jumping on. I know it's a big week for you, and I'm excited for you. So I can't imagine what's going on with you. How's everything going? How's this week going for you?
So basically, me and the guy who helps me with my content planned on let's just get everything ready and just launch it all throughout this week. And then all this other stuff keeps coming in every direction from sponsors and stuff. So it's actually been a bit of a busier week than I thought it was going to be. Um, in a good way, though, like overwhelming support, not overwhelming stress. Just like I have a lot of people in my corner that I guess I didn't fully understand that I did until this
Yeah,
week.
yeah, man. And I apologize for anybody that doesn't know you. You are you're well, obviously your name's there, Reid, but you're racing Leadville 100, and there's a video there's a video link on your Instagram that takes you to last year's race, and
Mhm.
so that's really that was my first introduction to you, was watching that video, and I definitely think anybody that's into sports should watch it. I think it's it's but you got all ends of the spectrum there, the ups and downs and everything else in between, I would think. um that was your first Leadville last year?
Yeah, it was quite the wild ride. I took the lead very early on, probably earlier than I would plan on taking it this year, to be honest, even though I'm gunning for the win. If I can avoid taking it for the first even just 60 miles, I'd be okay with that. I think like last year I was uh, kind of my hand was forced with when I took the lead, and that was a little scary. Didn't quite have the experience for what leading a race of this caliber means. Uh, and I made a pretty aggressive move when I took over the lead instead of just taking it kind of graciously and continuing the effort I was putting out. I actually like sped up, turned it on, and probably one of the reasons why the race imploded a little bit for me.
Is there and without, I mean, you don't have to say any names or anything, but are there people, I was reading some stuff that Anthony had put up last night, and he was talking about how this field's pretty stacked this year. Are there people that you're planning on kind of watching, going with, or are you just you have a game plan, you're going to stick to it, and whatever happens at the end is you'll be happy with it?
Yeah, so I have a game plan, and I'm gonna try and stick to it as best I can. I think like racing's racing, and I think understanding that you have to pivot a bit is important, regardless of your plan. So like I race with a heart rate monitor, and that'll be like mostly what I'll cue off of. But I'm not gonna let I might let a guy or two go, but I'm not gonna let 10 guys go, even if it means I'm gonna go over the edge a little bit. I'm just not gonna go way over the edge like I have in the past in races. Like I know what my hard ceiling is, and if it puts me in 10th early on because I'm trusting my instincts and trusting my plan, then that's okay. Um, I have a lot of faith that some of these people will come back to me because I did the same thing last year, right? Like I was one of those people that maybe leaned a little too hard, and at 10,000 feet, you don't recover the same way you do at sea level. And I think like that experience that I have is much different than a lot of people up here. I think there's only a couple other guys that I would say really have that similar experiences with the high altitude and racing this hard for that long up here.
And the race it stays at 10,000 feet and just keeps going up and down. Is that
It
right?
goes down a little bit to like I think like 92 or 9,500 in Twin Lakes, but like you're at like 10, 9, 5. Like it definitely doesn't go under 9. And then you go up to 12.5 on Hope Pass. So you're at altitude and you feel it.
Yeah. When also just kind of reading on your website, you come from triathlon. Was triathlon your first kind of competitive sport?
Yeah. Yeah. So I grew up swimming, quickly transitioned into triathlon when I was like early teenager and had some like pretty good success with that. Was trying to make the Olympics, wasn't quite ready for Rio, or sorry, for London or Rio, and I just didn't have it in me to do another 4-year cycle, which ended up being a 5-year cycle for Tokyo. Like it's long hours and it's quite a grind. It's not as enjoyable as like going and running up mountains. Like you're looking at a power meter on the bike, you're staring at a black line in a pool. Like it's just a lot of like long, lonely hours, and there's not a lot of exploration. I just wasn't having fun with it anymore. So transitioned to the trails pretty quickly, and in like 2019, 2020, and then here I am living in Leadville.
Yeah, man. Was that was it mostly Olympic distance triathlon then, or did you go into 70.3s or full Ironman?
So mostly Olympic distance, a little bit of sprint, but always draft legal or like ITU. Like World Triathlon now is what it'd be called. I don't even know if they really call it ITU, but
Yeah.
yeah, like it was my entire career was the Olympic trajectory. I never really deviated from that because that
Huh.
was the goal. Like same way the goal is on Saturdays to win. Like I had a very clear goal that got me up in the morning, and that was to make the Olympics. And um, I'm satisfied with that career. Like it
Yeah.
was, I don't have too many regrets with it. Like it was a lot of fun. I got to travel the world and race all over. And I think honestly, it's what afforded me the visa that I'm on right now. As part of it was having such a depth in the endurance world already. It wasn't like just looking at a couple of years of results. It was looking at like, okay, this guy's been doing this for like over a decade. Like it's not, he's not just trying to show up and get some sponsors and win some races. Like he's been doing this forever.
With on also on your website, you talk about trying to find out what's possible, how far you can push your body, and along those lines. Is it has it become more than, say, like just winning Saturday? What it to me, so I guess it's a question for me. I always ask this question because I'm trying to find out more also about myself, like what drives me. Why do I keep doing stuff that I do? It becomes like after you win or after you complete something, are you still are you are you left like kind of empty or let down? Like what is it? What is there besides winning? Is there more that you're looking for Saturday, or do you even know? Because those emotions just kind of take over after that.
Like I really want to leave in a body bag. Like I want to be dead. Like it's like not actually dead, but like I think last year the biggest frustration wasn't coming eighth like that. Like I think a lot of people didn't understand why I saw that as kind of failure. The failure was that I was kind of walking around the lake back into Leadville, like Turquoise Lake back into Leadville. Um, I wasn't pushing my body anymore because my body didn't have a lot left to give. And I think like that's ultimately the goal is to just be like, I want to leave everything that I've built in the last year out there. And if that means like eighth again or 10th or 15th or first or third, like I'm comfortable with that. It's like if I'm walking around the lake again and like basically the same time as last year, I'll be really unsatisfied and I will kind of feel empty. So like for me, it's just about like leaving everything that I've built out there on the table.
Is it also something I bring up and talk about with endurance athletes was something that Lance Armstrong said. He said all endurance athletes are running away from demons. They're all trying to stay out of their mind by occupying it. And I'm not trying to get that super personal with you or deep or anything like that, but is it like is it something where if you don't have these goals, if you don't get up and get after it every day, are you feeling just that emptiness or
Yeah,
unmotivated? Yeah.
100%. COVID was really hard for me, not because of COVID and not because like I'm pretty introverted. Like I literally live in this small little mountain town. I don't really see a lot of people. I run alone. Like I enjoy my time in my own head, but not having like a goal on the table was very difficult for me. and also very difficult. Like it's one of the reasons why I found the trail so quickly after triathlon is because like when I don't have a purpose to push my body, I feel very lost. Um, and I gotta say, like my parents are the same way. Like my, I didn't kick them out, but they're riding like I think 40 some miles today just for fun, right? And they've never been to altitude for this period of time. They've never really been at 10,000 feet, and like they're right there in their late 50s. My dad's 60 now. My mom's in their late 50s, and they're just out there grinding on the bike because like that's just how I was raised. That's how they deal with stress. Like after a stressful day, I want to go for a hard run or a hard bike or something. I don't want to grab a beer out of the fridge. I've had periods of time where maybe I have wanted to do that, but like generally speaking, like my way to process life and process stress is through exercise. So it's yeah, it's kind of a very important part of my life. And when I don't have a goal on the table, I feel very lost.
Did your parents introduce you to, say, like Prefontaine or anybody like that early on that kind of got that mindset? It got it in your mind, these things like say, like Pre's quotes about suicide pace is the best pace and today's a good day to die, like those
Yeah.
kind of things. Like the more I'm following you, I'm getting that sense, like that's your mindset.
I think my parents instilled an inability to believe in myself in a way that not a lot of parents do for their children. So it wasn't necessarily like one quote or one person. It's like my mom was fourth at Kona World Champs for Ironman when I was in grade 9, I think. So like it's just like instilled in us. And like my brother's in the military, Canadian military, and like I think we just took discipline in very different ways. Like my parents raised us to be extremely disciplined, and that brought my brother into the military, and that made me a professional athlete. Like I don't have anyone chasing me down to do the things that I do, uh, including my sponsors. Like it's all for me. Like they
Hmm.
support it, but like at the end of the day, like it's because I have this like want to do something big.
How
Um,
old are you? I'm sorry, I meant to ask that
I'm,
in the beginning.
I'm 29.
You're
Yeah.
29, so ninth grade would have been 2010-ish.
Yeah. Something like that.
2010. You said that your parents were both racing in Kona that year.
Just my mom. My dad's done Ironmans before my mom, but my mom's been to Kona twice, and that one year she was fourth in her age group.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So like I have the genetics. I think like I definitely feel blessed, and like they've supported me um, financially at times in these pursuits. They've always just been like, yeah, go after your dreams. Like I remember when I quit my job in uh, 2022, February of 2022, I was pretty miserable at my job and had a lot of money saved. I had broken up with a girl I had been with for 5 years, and we had a house together. We sold it. I didn't spend any of the money from my half, and I had a good job at the time in logistics, and I was making like what I thought was bank. And I I wanted to make it to May so I could like make it to the summer. And one day in February, I was just like, I can't do this. I already had the resignation letter drafted, sent it off to my boss. And 2 weeks later, I was down in Tucson training, trying to make it work. And then in in November, December of 2022 is when I signed my first contract as a professional athlete. So I basically like, that's why one of my tattoos is bet on yourself. Like I think constantly, like it doesn't matter who you have in your support system. At the end of the day, like you have to believe in yourself and believe in your purpose. And like I think on paper, there was no reason for me to think that I could have been a professional athlete in 10 months of self funding myself, but I made it work by the end of that period.
Yeah, I I'm trying to, I don't want to say get that through my kids' head, but trying to articulate that, like what you said about you're betting on yourself, but figuring out your skill set so you don't have to depend on other people, and then you won't, you can't make any excuses at that point. You can't blame it on other people. So was
Yeah,
that, go ahead, sorry.
it's very hard, right? Like I think like a lot of people think, oh yeah, you're a professional athlete. It's like I'm in a really niche sport. Like I remember last year I was looking for some secondary sponsors, and I think I sent out like between 100 and 150 emails or DMs depending on what the company was and what the connection I had to them, and I only got 2 or 3 out of that. And like I think people think all these things are handed to you on a silver platter. Like in the end of 2022, when I was wanting a professional contract, I straight up asked Merrill. I was already connected to the Canadian side. They connected me to the American side, and we made it work. But it was because I asked. It wasn't because it was given and they were scouting me and stuff. It was like, no, I really want to do this. I think I can provide value in these ways, and how do you think we can make this work?
Yeah, and then even, I mean, yes, you're right. It's definitely not handed to you, and then with all of the logistics, the supply chain, and everything else that's going on now with these companies, I think it's just everything, the world, right? It's hard to get people to work with you, and then there's so many people, I'm sure, trying to make it happen. Was Skratch one of those people that you had reached out to last year, or have you been working with them for a while?
They're over 2 years now, I believe. Um, yeah, they've been instrumental. Uh, like they're gonna help crew on Saturday. They helped last year. My parents were actually racing an Ironman on the same day as my Leadville. Or I guess it was the next day. They were racing Sunday. I raced the Saturday. So Skratch actually crewed me last year fully, whereas this year I have both my parents here.
Nice.
Yeah, they've been supportive, and they just send me so much product and like want me to spread the love that they give to me too. So like Anthony, who connected me with you more or less, like told me about your brand and made the connection. I gave him a bag, and he was stoked to get it. They were stoked I gave it to him because he's racing Leadville and it's going to be on course. And it's just like they love just like they just want more people using their products, and they don't seem to really care how they get them, even if it's like through me or yeah, just very supportive brand. And it's kind of the only fuel that's really worked for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
why I initially reached out. Like I was trying to work with some Canadian companies at the time, but their products weren't working. And I reached out to Skratch, and they were like, oh, we love you. We love what you're doing. We want to support you. And it's been like a very cool development of our relationship. As I've gotten bigger, I feel like our relationship's gotten bigger and more important as well. Because we've kind of grown symbiotically.
Yeah, I was introduced to Skratch. It's been well over a decade, but I used to tattoo down in Encinitas, and there was a store down there called Nitro. I don't know if you've ever been to Nitro Multisport, but it was like the mecca of triathlon, man. And all the athletes that started triathlon were basically down there, which was really cool. But I didn't know anything about anything when I started doing triathlons. I just knew that I wanted to do one. And there's a guy named Joe Morgan that used to be the manager at Nitro. When I was trying to figure out the nutrition side, he handed me a bag of Skratch, and he said, "This is the only thing in our store that does what it says it's supposed to do." And he's like, "Just try it."
Yeah.
And then my other friend Gordon, who owns a store called Velo Hanger down in Carlsbad, same thing. He had Skratch, and that was it. So I just noticed my stomach was jacked up all the time, and then started drinking Skratch, and I was completely fine. And over the years, the thing, like you just said about Skratch, is there. And to be honest, I've tried to implement a lot of what Skratch does. I don't know them personally, but just from watching them and how organic they are with their stuff, that's how I've tried to do that with all of my businesses also. Not try to bullshit people into
Yeah.
believing something. Just try it. You know, the
Yeah.
coffee.
Here's a bag.
Yeah, here's a bunch of samples of coffee. Try
Yeah.
it. Let me know what you think. And, you know, I'm not going to tell you which ones I think are good or what you should think are good or whatever. But the other thing is we've done, I kind of put it in the email about, or the team email about stuff that we've done where we try to do for the kids.
Yeah.
And with those things, Skratch has always been supportive of that stuff. Also, I write them an email, and they send, like you said, they'll send, you know, a box. Here you go, do this. I've got my cooler up here from Skratch. It's so yes. So Skratch is something that I will always support, not just because it's good, but because of the actual brand behind it. So
Yeah, and the people
definitely.
that work there, like I think that's the coolest thing about, I would say actually all the brands that I work with is all the people, the athlete managers, everyone that I interact with or have to interact with in the companies are fantastic. Like for Skratch, it's right down to the founder. Like Alan is incredible. He's one of the smartest people I've ever talked to. And like I think like I'm someone that loves to absorb information, and anytime I see a video or I've met him in person, um, I just learn stuff. And it's like, I love, yeah, I just love to learn. And for someone with that much knowledge to continue to share it with, like, he wants, like, that's why they give away so much product. Like, they want people to feel properly and have fun out there and not be throwing up on the side of the trail or the
Yeah.
road, right? Like, they want to have fun. And they want everyone to have fun, and the culture in the companies seems just as good as like the product and everything as well, which is, I think, super cool, and
Yeah.
something that I resonate with. Like, I want there to be really cool culture and like cool marketing and like authentic marketing, and not just like smoke and mirrors and products that don't really work. Like I've had contracts in front of me from some brands where I've just like turned them down. I'm like, I don't believe in what you're doing. I'm sorry. Like, uh,
How how is it working out for you? Like your friend Dylan with the content and all of that. That's probably a new thing also, right? The last year or two, producing content, putting yourself out there a little bit more. Um, is that strange? Like putting kind of, to me, it's always been, even just with Instagram, it's like, do people really care? Do we really want to do this? And trying to find the reasoning behind it. I know it's a necessary evil now, but how's that been working out for you?
so I'd say like when Dylan did the documentary last year, I didn't know him super well, and I think like it was fun, but there was definitely a level of stress with it. I'd say like probably halfway through this year, he's just become such a good friend that I actually have a lot of fun. Like if you watch the training video that we just put up yesterday, um, for like the last training video before Leadville, like I was just having a blast with him. Like we're joking, like there's just such a good dynamic that we've developed because he's become such a good friend that even if it's a sponsor post or something, I genuinely enjoy it. Like we just have the most fun we can with it, which I think is really important for me because that was probably, I don't want to say the only stressful part of my job, but it was, like I'd say outside of injury, it was the only stressful part of my job really, was content creation. And
Yeah.
I've eliminated that, right?
Yeah.
Like I have, it's like sometimes we have tight deadlines, like the John G collab that just came out with Meryl that showed up on my porch when Dylan was planning on driving back to Denver. So we had to pivot on that day. I had to drive like we went to a trail that was on his way back so we could shoot it quickly and get the content out to Meryl so they could approve it so I could post it when the launch happened. And it's like if that package showed up a day later, I actually don't know what I would have done.
Hmm.
So like there are still stressful elements, but he takes away most of the stress, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a solid team behind you. Yeah. You have a
Yeah.
strong support system, which is also key to these things that most people would say are crazy. Do you have any other goals, like for like Cocodona or any other big have you done Western States or Badwater? Are those on the radar?
Western States is probably the next goal after this one. Actually, not probably. If I feel like I check the box on Saturday, then Western States will be my next campaign. I've kind of got the hard rock bug this summer. I paced a buddy out in the San Juans, and it was with all the climbing I've been doing this year with poles and stuff. I'm no longer like a really bad climber like I was last year. So I started to think about like, okay, like I could do well here if I like really played my cards right. I think I'm still a couple of years away from that one being the one I put a big X on, but I definitely caught the bug.
Yeah. Does Leadville, do they have tickets to Western States? Like if you win, or is there a certain? No, they don't. Wow.
No, there's not much you get actually, to be honest, other than the fact that you got to win one of the most iconic races in at least North America, maybe the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's enough, right? But
yeah,
I wasn't sure about that. When did you work in coffee?
So that was actually like that would have been 20, I think around COVID, so like 2020 to like 2022.
Okay.
I was like in and out because I knew a guy who owned a coffee shop and he was opening more. So he taught me how to roast. He taught me how to roast. Taught me how to be a barista. At the time, I had also just bought the Rocket espresso machine, so I was like playing around at home on my own as well. So I'd like order things at home and then I'd take it to the shop. But yeah, I actually miss it a lot. I think like the biggest thing with being a professional runner is there's no degree of separation. Whereas when I was working in coffee, I was able to be just a barista for half the day or just a coffee roaster, or a full day, depending on what the schedule looked like. And there was a lot of like freedom in that. Like when I was serving coffee or roasting, no one knew me as the professional runner or the guy who was trying to become a professional runner. Everyone just knew me as the guy who made good coffee. And I think there's like a lot of freedom and joy in that. Currently, I'm on a visa that precludes me from working in anything other than professional running. But the goal of this weekend is to basically support a case that me and my immigration lawyer are trying to work on that basically says, hey, like this guy's good enough to stay, let's give him a green card, not just a visa. And if that's the case, then I'd consider working in coffee like once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Depending on where I'm living. Like I think I would get a lot of enjoyment out of that as long as it wasn't like too strenuous and the expectations weren't super high. Because it is something that I really enjoy. Even when people come over, having getting my parents to try your coffee for the first time and like seeing their eyes kind of light up compared to some of the stuff we're getting in Canada. That was a cool experience to have. And I like sharing those experiences. I think coffee is a way to tell stories and it's a way to really just get to know someone. And when you get to do that over a really good cup, it's pretty incredible.
That's awesome. So your parents, they were really pumped about it, huh?
Yeah. They
cool.
haven't tried the one I just opened the bag that we were talking about of the honey processed Yirgacheffe.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be my favorite, and it's definitely my favorite.
It's so good, huh? So good.
It's so incredible.
It's go ahead. I want to hear it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a bit of trouble because I can't do real dairy because it bothers my stomach for running. And oat milk doesn't always work with lighter single origin coffee when I'm making a cortado. Sometimes it brings out like this acidity that doesn't taste good. And the balance that I had with this cortado that I've been sipping on, it's gone now, but that I've been sipping on since we started the call, it's pretty incredible. And like, I actually don't remember the last time I've had a coffee that just sits with me this well. Like, even I don't have a glass of water around me right now, and the aftertaste that's just like sitting in my mouth right now is really good. Like, I don't want to wash it down. It's
Yeah.
always like that, and then if my coffee gets cold and I still enjoy drinking it, are
Mhm.
always my two like biggest indicators of like, oh wow, this is the bean. This is the coffee that works.
Yeah, yeah. That one is that I mean, just to say it's super cool. That's when you said you hadn't tried it, or when you sent me that list of the ones that you had, I was thinking, did I not send? Why would I not send them honey? But that's why I didn't say anything else. Wait for you to try it because that there's I, there's just something about that one. Like you said, the taste of it all the way through, it's super well balanced. Not to be gross, but even if you later on, if you burp, it tastes like blueberries. Like
Yeah,
it leaves this almost like zing in your mouth after you drink it. It's to me, it's incredible. I just ordered a couple more bags, a few more 100 pounds of that yesterday to get in.
that's awesome.
It's definitely going to be one that I keep on there for sure. And then, did I send you any anaerobic, the Ethiopian anaerobic?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was like halfway through the list of
Oh,
like
okay.
top to bottom, but the
Yeah.
honey is like here now, which I
Yeah.
kind of knew, which is why I saved it. Like I know I've I wouldn't say my knowledge is quite as extensive as it was when I was actually in the industry, but like I kind of know what I like and know what I don't like, and I just reading the description, it was like, yeah, this one I gotta save to the end because I just know this is gonna be the top of the list.
Yeah. Yeah. There's another, I have another one that's a red honey. It's a red bourbon, varietal and red honey process. I don't know if I sent you that one, but I'll get you that one out the next time also. I think I tried to get you when you said you liked all the naturals and honeys. I tried to send you all of them, so I hope I
Yeah.
did. And I'll get some more of those out to you. I don't want to keep you too long, but so now where did the Stop Reid shirt? What's going on there? Was it
Uh,
just a tribute or what's going on out there?
so basically, I wanted to do something bold for this race. So Merrill actually sent me the shirts. I like texted them about the idea, and I was just like, "Hey, like, what do you think?" They're like, "Yeah, that's kind of cool." So I got 12 shirts, like not anything crazy. So my crew is gonna wear them, and then the plan is to like if there's interest and Saturday goes really well, I have a buddy who does screen printing, so I might actually do like 100 shirts or something and see if I can sell them. And I don't want to make money off them. I don't really care about that, but like if I could like just get the name out there, I think it's kind of cool. And my logo is one of my first tattoos, and it's on the back of the shirts too, which is kind of cool. Um,
Are you familiar with that story about that shirt and all of that? Did you read up on all that?
yeah, yeah. So from how I understand it, he was just being so dominant. So one of his competitors made the shirts. I forget who it was who made them. And then he won the race that everyone's wearing the shirts at. So I'm pretty sure he grabbed the shirt and did his victory lap in the shirt. And that's
Yeah.
what made it so iconic was like everyone was just like, this guy is dominating. Like, I don't know how we can stop him. Like he runs from the front. Like we have no way of beating this guy. And then he beats him and throws the shirt on.
Yeah. Yeah. They said that when they showed up to Oregon for that track, for that meet, that everybody had go pre shirts, go pre buttons, go pre stickers, posters everywhere they went,
Yeah.
and they just it was pretty cool to hear that story because they respected him and they weren't trying to be disrespectful, but they were like, "This is crazy. So what do we do?" And then so that's how they literally went back to their room and were brainstorming on what they could do. And then they were worried about how the city or how the community was going to react to it. And then, of course, being pre, I think he appreciated it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, can you imagine that guy right now with like Instagram or social media? I mean, that dude,
He'd be in the
he's.
millions.
I mean, you got like him and Muhammad Ali and I don't know who else from back then, you know, say pre 90s, 80s, that, I mean, you call it confidence or whatever you want to call it, but I mean, the shit they said, nobody else was saying it, and nobody else was backing it up. And they, you know, they weren't making money off of saying it. So
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome. If you ever get a chance to go, well, went to the Nike campus. I guess it's been about a decade, and that was he has his own hall and all that stuff over there too, and that was really cool to visit. And then I don't know if you could see, I'm trying to point to it on here with the reverse camera, but right behind my logo right here, I have that pre-live sticker, and that's just right in front of, that sits right in front of my treadmill.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so it's always interesting to me when I have these connections with people like yourself, and I'm not trying to be all like spiritual or anything else like that, but you see these things, you start talking to people, and then especially with social media is great to make these connections. But sometimes you know, you don't ever, you don't want to be not trying to be rude or anything, but you wonder how genuine it is. And then as you get to talk to people a couple more times, and you start to see things, and you mention little things, or you throw little things out there, and you start to find this common ground. And then, dude, when you put that Stop Reid shirt up, I was like, man, this dude, this is like fate, man. I'm supposed to meet this dude. I'm supposed to get to know him a lot more. And I mean, I was really interested in your journey, especially leading up to Leadville, but I didn't want to bug you either. I didn't, well, you know, this is your week, man. So I appreciate you you coming on and you know, just talking a little bit and sharing, you know, sharing what's going on with you. And I'm looking forward to is there a live feed, or is there a way to follow besides just?
I mean, we're gonna do our best to update my Instagram the rest of the most of the day, and like I'm sure it won't just be me in there. It'll be a few other people that we'll try and post updates on. But I don't race with my phone, so like Dylan and then my buddy from Canada, Alexia, will be like updating my story and stuff all day. And we did that last year, and it seemed to like really pop off, especially when I was in the lead. So I think like unfortunately, yeah, there's no live stream.
Yeah.
I think this year would have been the year to do it with like if there's 10 guys that can probably win. It's it'd be cool to have some drones and some follow cams out there, but yeah.
It starts at like 3 or 4.
4 a.m. So 3 a.m. your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is have you been, I don't know if you communicate with Anthony regularly. Is he planning anything? Does he have any kind of people following him around or doing anything either?
He's pretty quiet when it comes to like his career plan. I think we all are.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think there's like we're all buddies at some point, but unfortunately on race week there's just like only so much
Yeah.
that we share. Like I like Anthony, but I still want to beat him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know he wants to beat me, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I'd like to share some miles with him. I think that'd be fun, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really know what his plan is. I've been trying to keep as low key as I can this week, which has been like relatively hard when you're living in town. But yeah, I've been like trying to stay off the course a bit and just like do my own thing.
After
Train now.
after Leadville, how much more time do you have before your visa expires, or whatever it is that you're on right now?
September 2025, so I still got time.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
And
if Saturday doesn't go super well, then I can turn it, like I can turn that fitness into something different this
yeah,
year. I purposely left my fall open, so if something feels inspiring and I feel like I want to carry this fitness into something else, then I'll do that. And if not, I might shut my season down. But I actually don't know.
gotcha.
I'll let people know Saturday night.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Okay. Well, cool. Well, I'll get a hold of you. Obviously, I'll stay in contact with you. I'm not going to bug you anymore this week, but I'm going to be definitely going to be following along on Saturday, man. And I'm I guess another thing real quick. My friend Chad, he did a 100 miler earlier this year, and he decided to do it like last October. So he basically trained for about 3 months for a
Right.
100 miler over here in Boulder City. And I was going to do it with him, but I just, once we got into the 20-mile days and all that, I just didn't have time. But, so I did go out, I went out and I paced him for his last lap, the last 16 miles. And when he came in for his third lap with 2 to go, he could barely stand up. And he did that thing where you sit down slowly. And
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to get back up. But then going through that last lap with him, and the terrain was, I couldn't imagine going through there at night. But it's so hard. And that was just the last 16. And it's so hard to put into words what your mind's going through with these things. And you know, we rode our bikes to Vegas overnight 2 times, and you start, I don't know about you, but you start hallucinating. I start seeing things. And again, these things, all kinds of stuff cross your mind. But I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing to your body and what you're going after, man. And I think that you're, you know, if you want to call it a journey, is speaking to a lot of people, and it's inspiring to a lot of people. So I think I could speak for a lot of people in just saying that we appreciate it. We appreciate what you're doing, and we appreciate how you're doing it. So we'll see you Saturday, and wish you the best, man.
Well, thank you. I really, really appreciate you saying that. And you better bet I'm going to have some Resolute on Saturday at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Awesome. All right, Reid. Well, cool. Well, I'll, be following along, man. Rest up, and I'll see you Saturday.
Sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Hey, sorry, did you have anything else to say?
No, this is good. Yeah, we can
right.
close it down. I think that's almost everything I would add to say.
All right, cool. I'm going to shut us down on Instagram then real quick.